parents, I'm Jessica Bauer. I am your son or daughter's 7th grade language arts teacher this year at Chapin Middle School. I'm so sorry I'm not able to be with you tonight. If you're anything like your kids, you're really awesome and I would love getting to hang out with you. Unfortunately, I'm in class. I'm right now in the process of getting my master's in language and literacy from the University of South Carolina, and I have class on Wednesday afternoons, which is why I'm not there. But I would really love to be with you. Since I can't be with you, I've made this lovely video just going over a couple of important things about me and my class to help you get a little bit more acquainted with what we're going to be working on this year. So, just a little bit about me. I graduated from University of Georgia with an undergrad degree in English, and then I went through South Carolina's alternative teaching certification program called PACE to get my certificate, and I got my national board certification 2 years ago. This will be my 7th year teaching 7th grade here at Chapin Middle School, but before I actually spent some time here as a student. I went to Chapin Middle and Chapin High and graduated from there in 2002. When I'm not teaching or grading essays, you can find me curled up somewhere with a really good book. I'm obsessed with reading, or at the movies, because I love stories any way that you want to tell them. So, the main core of my teaching philosophy is that I believe every single student can learn, but not all students learn in the same way. So, I do a lot of work to try and make sure the activities we're doing in class meet everyone's different learning styles and learning needs. I believe all of my students are readers and writers. Some of them just don't know that about themselves yet, but my goal is by the end of the year they will all see themselves that way. I also believe that learning is social. So if you were in my classroom right now, you would notice the desks are in pairs and they're really easy to group up. I try and give my students time every day to talk about what we're learning, because I really think for this age group, being able to talk through things is a really great way to process. I also think students learn best when they understand exactly what it is that they're supposed to be learning. So your student and I are going to spend some time at the beginning of every unit talking about the standards and coming up with some learning objectives so they understand exactly what skills they're supposed to be learning by the end of the unit. So you should be able to ask them what they did in school that day, and if they can tell you nothing else, they should be able to tell you what skill they worked on in language arts, because we go over it pretty much at the beginning of every block. I have 3 main goals for the year for all of my students. The first I alluded to in the last little segment, which is that by the end of the year, I want all of my students to view themselves and their classmates as readers and writers. My second goal is that my students will be able to effectively communicate their ideas through speaking and writing and through a variety of different products. And my last goal is that my students will be creative, independent thinkers. The big thing I always say to my students, especially if we're talking about a book or something else that we've read, is that I already know what I think. I'm not interested in hearing them just tell me what I think back after I tell them. I want to know what they think, because they've got really great ideas, and I can't wait over the next couple months to kind of get to hear and figure out what some of those awesome ideas are. Just a couple important notes about our 7th grade language arts curriculum. The first is that we have a humanities focus, which means that for the majority of our units, the material that your student is reading is going to reflect either the content they're learning in social studies or common themes. For example, our unit right now, students are reading a novel called Blood on the River, which is historical fiction that's set in Jamestown. At the same time, they're studying colonization and exploration in their social studies classes. One of our other units in the fall, in social studies, they'll be learning about different philosophers and the Enlightenment. So in language arts, they'll be writing essays about their personal philosophies and what they believe, and how that fits with some of the philosophers they're learning about in social studies. We think this is a great way to go about our curriculum, because it gives a chance for ideas to be reinforced, and it helps students understand how things are applicable outside of just one particular classroom. Another thing that's important to know about 7th grade language arts is we have common assessments at the end of our units. So what your student does one day when they come to language arts might be a little bit different than what their friend is doing if they have another teacher, but their big project or test at the end of the unit is going to be exactly the same. And we get together as teachers and talk before we grade and grade some things together so we can make sure we're assessing students the same way. So that when our students go to 8th grade, they've had common experiences that the 8th grade teachers can refer to and build off of. Our gradebook in ELA is set up the same way as your students' other core classes. Tests and projects are 60%, quizzes count as 30%, and classwork and homework counts as 10%. Some other helpful things to know are that you can follow me on Twitter at CMSMissBauer for updates about class. The best way to get in touch with me is by email, jbauer@lexsearch5.org, because my school email is synced to my cell phone. You can also check out my website, www.lexsearch5.org/webpages/jbauer for current information on what we're up to, or you can give me a call at 575-5755. If it's during the school day, you'll need to leave a voicemail since it won't ring during class. If your student needs extra help, I'm available Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. If that's not convenient for you, please feel free to contact me so we can try and find a time that works. Well, I think that's probably everything that you need to know right now. As I said at the beginning, I'm having so much fun with your students so far this year. They're awesome, sweet, kind kids, and I cannot wait to work with them over the next several months. I'm excited about how much we're all going to grow as learners together. Feel free to contact me if you ever have any questions or problems. Anytime, I'm here to help you, and I can't wait to see your students have a successful year. Bye!